Hey everybody, this is herculespetix, founder, curator, docent, and gift shop employee of the herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies. Today we're going to be looking at U.S., a 2-issue miniseries from DC Vertigo from the late 90s. This was written by Steve Darnell and fully painted by Alex Ross. Alex Ross also contributed to the plotting. I don't know what to think about this series. I reread it last night for the first time in probably 20 years. And I really like Alex Ross's art, but I'm not sure. I kind of want to take a look at it with you. And definitely problematic. I like this in the inside front and back covers. They have vintage Uncle Sam cartoons. I don't know why, but I just love this title page. The beautiful colors and everything. Really well designed. Letters by the great Todd Klein. So we start off in this emergency room, and you guys have probably seen Alex Ross's work before, but just, I don't know, it just still blows me away every time I see it. It's just crazy. It might be a little too photorealistic sometimes, but he's one of the few photorealistic artists who actually adds something to it, where it's not just like, oh, you're looking at photos. I can't describe it, but I still kind of like his stuff. And then we're introduced to Uncle Sam. He's basically just a ranting homeless person. And this is the part that kind of annoys me. Basically, he's just ranting and yelling out various non sequiturs, almost like Zippy the Pinhead. But they're all like things from American history. Quotes from presidents, famous commercials, just various and sundry things from American history and culture. And it's just such a Vertigo type thing. It's just tiresome after a while. It's kind of like how Zippy the Pinhead becomes tiresome after a while. So right there, it's kind of problematic. And basically for most of the comic, that's all he does. He just says these non sequiturs because he's a crazy street person. And it's also that thing in comics and literature and movies where they always make crazy homeless people more clever than they really are. I take the bus all the time. I'm always riding around with crazy people. And they're not interesting. They're just babbling stupid shit constantly. It's never like, ooh, that was some kind of weird reference to something or semi-profound in a weird, surreal way. No, it's just gobbledygook. But in comics and movies, they always make the homeless person kind of ranting and oh, it's almost like a poem or something, or they're referring to something. I do like how Alex Ross just has all this crazy action in the background that you'd miss if you were just reading it quickly. Like these guys mugging this woman, purse snatching. So they keep having pages like this, these little almost jigsaw puzzle pages where you just see all these bad things going on in America. This basically homophobic rally, anti-gay rally, people getting poisoned by pesticides. We'll see more of those. So a lot of it is just him wandering around like a bum and just saying stupid shit constantly. But it does seem that this guy isn't just some crazy homeless person. It's like he's kind of been around since before the Revolution, the American Revolution. And so we do have a little sense of some narrative history to him. And we see him apparently with his wife back around 1775 or so. And he's arguing with her about entering the fight for the colonies. And she's basically just saying, all those guys starting the revolution, they're all just a bunch of rich fucks. It's, don't fight and die for them. I think her name's B. But he's, already fought in the French and Indian Wars. He's the kind of guy who's just if there's a cause, he's going to fight for it. I kind of like how he makes the colors more warm here than this more gritty photorealistic style. has flashbacks to the JFK assassination. This is basically just a hallucinatory trip. It's I expected a plot to kick in at some point, but it never really does. It's I guess you could say it's very Vertigo, but usually Vertigo would have all its crazy shit, but it'd have a plot. This is just really like, I guess, experimental. Smokey the Bear makes an appearance. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to say about this comic, guys. It's I was really debating if I should kick it out of the Academy, but I just love this art. So basically, I'm just like, it's an art book. There are every now and then some of the things are pretty interesting. He brings up some good points. I just feel this was a failed experiment. The concept, the fact that Uncle Sam basically represents the United States, and he's in this horrible condition. Because when you look around at the United States, you might think that, like, yeah, Uncle Sam's not doing too good. I just think in the hands of a better writer, this could have been fucking brilliant, very insightful. It could have been some amazing, commentary on society and politics. But I didn't get that sense of it from it. It's really just kind of a rambling thing. God, the sequence where he's drawing it's an antique store, and just drawing all the stuff in his perfect, immaculate style. I don't know why. I was staring at this panel for like 10 minutes last night. It's pretty impressive. We see a flashback to Black Hawk, Native American leader, and the Union troops have just killed off all his people. And he's basically, it's almost like he's not there. I think it's his ghost or something, because nobody's touching him. He's just going on about how 400 treaties, every single one of them broken. And Uncle Sam is trying to basically be apologetic for America. But it's not really holding weight against Black Hawk's criticisms. Once again, the different color palette for this bright desert setting. Well, prairie setting, I guess. Really nice stuff. Back to the antique shop. Just more amazing detritus from pop culture history. This obviously, if you haven't guessed already, takes a critical eye of American history. I think he's, the writer's kind of right on about his view on American history. He starts talking to this lawn jockey. So then we get a long talk about race in America, black and white relations. It's an amazing panel there. So everything these characters are saying, it's pretty righteous. But just the fact that he won't let up with the non sequiturs, and there's just no sense of like some kind of end game to this. It's just kind of a meandering mess. Yeah, in his mind, he's visiting Andersonville, the horrible prison camp during the Civil War. Once again, a totally different palette. Very bleak looking, as the situation was in Andersonville. Another jigsaw page of just showing random shitty things going on in America. A prisoner being raped in prison by the guard. Farm foreclosures. Hey, I wonder if he wrote this, post 2016, how different it would be. Uncle Sam would probably have both of his legs and arms chopped off and would be completely epileptic or something. I don't know. He'd be worse off. And now we're transported back to the Dust Bowl in the Midwest. Once again, palette change. Really nice stuff. Shit. He's so good, Alex Ross. So we do see like one good person. He's this actual guy running for senator. Of course, the big money interests did tons of negative ads against him, so he lost. But he does seem to be a righteous dude. One of the few good politicians. And Uncle Sam mistakes him for Abraham Lincoln in his addled brain. Man, that's good. And then there's a parade for the senator who won. And he sees this giant Uncle Sam guy on stilts. But in his imagination, he sees like something from an old Quality Comics cover where Uncle Sam was a superhero back in the 40s. It's like he's straddling the sky. So high up, the planes are flying under his legs. Really, it's just a dude on stilts. So, of course, Uncle Sam's like, imposter. So he goes inside this political rally. And the senator who won, obviously, is a piece of shit, just by his rhetoric. And Uncle Sam can actually hear what he really means. Like, this guy is just saying typical politician talk. You know, we proved that you wanted something done about the problems of immigration. And then Uncle Sam is hearing, and we proved that a grown man claiming he represented the people of his home state would drop his pants and bend over for any corporation with a lobbyist and a checkbook. Kind of looks like a slightly better looking Rush Limbaugh, this senator. Of course, nobody else can hear what Uncle Sam hears because it's probably all in his head. But it's actually more true than what the guy's actually saying. Still with the non sequiturs. I keep thinking they're going to stop. I'm like, okay, we get the idea. So basically he tackles the fake Uncle Sam on stilts, and the cops come to take him away. Now we have a flashback to the infamous Dearborn, Michigan strike, where basically the cops just murdered these union guys. So obviously Steve Darnell's a guy coming in from the left, you know. And he ends up in the pokey. He actually finds some sympathetic guys who were protesting earlier. And a very striking last page. Some more of those old political cartoons. Let's get on to the second issue. Another nice Alex Ross cover. That's what he'd do. But I gotta say, this is probably one of my least favorite covers by Alex Ross, but that's still pretty damn good. More of those cartoons. Title page. let's get back to the story. So Uncle Sam's remembering when he was that guy in that famous painting, the middle guy, singing Yankee Doodle Dandy. There is an interesting twist in this, I find, is that he keeps thinking about like, when I was younger and stronger, those were better days. But then he thinks to himself, he's like, how come all those good old days were basically about blood and killing and war? Which I guess it kind of is, you know? It's not like we were ever this like kind of nice country. We've been fighting wars. We've had slaves the whole time. Kept people in bondage. And people talk about the founding fathers. Things weren't that great then. They were never that great. But like I always say, it's like he's saying, you know, the dreamer may fail, but the dream is still sound. You know, the Bill of Rights is still a great document, a revolutionary document, amazing. But unfortunately, a lot of us don't want to follow it. And a lot of Americans throughout American history haven't wanted to follow it. So he escapes from the cops. Well, actually, it's kind of facilitated by this woman who I don't know who she is, but she posts bail for him. But he just kind of runs away. God, just amazing stuff. And then we get a cameo. It's like a Marvel 2-in-1. Britannia comes up and says, hey, do you mind if I join you? So, you know, the symbol of Great Britain. Of course, she's seen better days too. And they're basically commiserating about how much promise they had when they were young, you know, younger kingdoms, younger empires. I really like how her line just keeps licking his face like a cute little, like a puppy. Throughout, of course, there's just so many references to so many different stuff. It does seem like this guy, Steve Darnell, like, knows his stuff. He's pretty well read. Like Britannia brings up that Smedley Butler guy. Is that his name? Yeah, he's the guy who, like, was a kind of a leader, maybe a general in the Marines. And when he retired, he wrote a book about just like, you know, I've just been a gangster for capitalism my whole life. Every war I've fought was just so, like, oil interests could be safe somewhere. Going down to Nicaragua and Dominican Republic. These shitty kids try to light Uncle Sam on fire, you know, because he's a hobo. And some people, I guess, do that. I don't know if that's an urban legend, though. I wonder if that really happens. It seems like if you watched movies, you would think that every night some evil teenagers are dousing a sleeping hobo with kerosene and lighting him on fire. But Uncle Sam doesn't burn, so they're freaked out and they run away. We see another montage page. A woman realizes that working 40 hours a week won't be enough. A millionaire tells his listeners to aim for the head when dealing with law enforcement. A 9-year-old child takes a bullet just below the brain. Almost all of these are real references. For example, this one, it shows a synagogue was desecrated with swastikas. Zyklon B kills Jews dead. Just fucking horrible shit. All these I kind of remember from my childhood. Now Uncle Sam's flashing back again to when he was fighting in the Revolutionary Army. This is just after the war, and it's Shays' Rebellion. If you're not familiar with Shays' Rebellion, a lot of the soldiers who fought in the Revolutionary War, you know, fought for all these rich guys. When they came home, they were, you know, bravely defending freedom and fighting for our country's beginning. They were all like, you know, sued for owing money and put in debtor's prison. The military gave them worthless scrip. So, of course, they rebelled and they said, you guys were supposed to pay us. We need money. And America's solution, the government solution was just to shoot them, to gun them down when they came to protest. So this is the very beginning of our country. So the well was poisoned at the beginning. And I guess he contributed to it. And, you know, he's looking back feeling terrible. So this is how the dream ends, stillborn. And one might say that about the American experiment. I mean, look at that. One of the most cherished things in the Bill of Rights is freedom of speech, right? Within, like, I don't know, 10 years, they passed sedition laws, which said, if you say something we don't like, we'll put you in jail. Even though it clearly says we have freedom of speech. But they just, you know, it doesn't matter. He meets this other hobo who earlier stole his shoes. First he's being sympathetic to him, but then he sees that he's got a Davy Crockett hat. And he gets furious. He's like, where did you find this hat? But of course, this guy is just like him. He's spouting non sequiturs. He's crazy. And Uncle Sam's like, you're not making any sense. And I'm like, yeah, you haven't made sense this whole comic. You fucking nut job. So I guess there's a kind of thrust to the plot where he's looking for B, who I assume is his wife from, you know, the 1700s. Yeah, it's very strange. He finds that antique shop pops up in the middle of this alley, but now it's all empty. Well, mostly empty. It looks like it's been cleaned out. He thinks B's in here. And when he can't find her, he starts freaking out and trashing the place. So now he has another, whatever, revelry in his mind. And he meets Columbia. Here she is. And, you know, Columbia was the original, like, spirit of America. Almost like our icon. And Steve Darnell's making it seem like Columbia was more of the pure essence of the dream of America. And the character here, Columbia, basically says, yeah, you know, when we started running around the world, you know, toppling governments that we didn't like and basically causing an empire, I kind of checked out. I didn't sign up for that shit. That's what you signed up for. And that's what Uncle Sam kind of represented. You know, late 1800s, when America became a world power, started flexing our muscle. And maybe, you know, you could say kind of becoming a bully. This is something she says that kind of rings true. She says there was a point right around maybe the end of World War I where people started to realize, like, you know, maybe the bad guys in the world could be us. At that point, America had two options: either correct our mistakes and learn from them, or live behind a wall held together with cynicism and brute force and deny everything. And I think no matter what side of the political fence you're on, you can guess which side we picked. For good or for ill, depending on your political perspective. So now, kind of gets a little silly. He meets the Russian bear. And he's being very antagonistic. And I do like the fact that the Russian bear says, do you think you're the only symbol who was meant to stand for one thing and was perverted into something else? So they're in the same boat, you know? Yeah, I'm sure people created these icons to represent something noble and good. But of course, then bad people just use them for their own interests and to propagate some kind of myth that they could profit from. Really well-drawn bear, though. They even talk about Marianne. She's basically like the spirit of France. especially like the French Revolution. Kind of looks like she's gone insane though after the, the reign of terror. Because talk about a revolution that went off the rails. Britannia comforts her. This is a pretty impressive, damn impressive spread. He's looking up at the Statue of Liberty, and it seems to give him, I don't know, some renewed vigor. And visually we see it. He turns into a giant, and he's straddling New York Harbor here. That's very Alex Rossian. It's like Giant Man in Marvels. And then I guess this is kind of the showdown, the climax, what things have been leading to, where he's basically straddling through the clouds here. That's, he's colossal. And he starts hearing even more non sequiturs, all these snippets of television things. Have you had your break? So make a date for laughs. Just all this random shit. And then we see the other Uncle Sam, the dark mirror image. The Uncle Sam not so brightly lit, if you will. He's made up, or it's almost like his chair is all of these TV screens. That's a pretty great image. Really neat. And of course, the other Uncle Sam is like, he's very prosperous. He's basically like how we kind of either fear or know America really is. Just a smug, bullying, greedy, basically top dog. Like that little guy in Monopoly. I like how he's smoking a rolled up $100 bill and he puts it out on the Capitol building. And then they start wrestling. Man, look at the old Uncle Sam here. That's a pretty maniacal look. We see one more page of just all these bad things going on. A young man is killed for not understanding English. A pregnant woman lies dead, the fetus stolen by her killers. A man opens fire on an abortion clinic. The dream is under fire, burning down from the inside. So they basically stop the slugfest and, temporarily, and just have a theological debate, or I'm sorry, political debate, I guess. He tells the younger Uncle Sam, he says, you are the spirit of a nation, but it's not America. I like this little, it says, Sam, what are we going to do with you? I've got it. And then, that's a pretty great panel. Just the crazy perspective on it. But then he basically tells him the truth about what he is. The real Uncle Sam tells this younger, crappier Uncle Sam. And it really infuriates him. He starts pounding on our Uncle Sam. I'll just keep calling him the old Uncle Sam. But strangely enough, his blows against the old Uncle Sam hurt him more than anything. It's almost like he's hurting himself by doing this. And then the young Uncle Sam starts doing stupid non sequiturs, which is really annoying. And then he fades away. He basically evaporates. And then Uncle Sam basically wakes up back in reality. He was obviously, that was in his head. And we see these two nice passerbys offer him help. And they put $1 in his hat. And he says, my hat? And the one thing he wanted from that younger Uncle Sam, he wanted his hat back. Because you probably noticed he hasn't had his, trademark Uncle Sam hat the whole comic. And there it is on the ground with a dollar bill. So he puts it back in his head. Seems like it gives him some hope. And I don't know, maybe he's not going to be a crazy loon anymore. But as he walks away, he's jauntily walking away singing Yankee Doodle. But then the dollar falls from the hat when he puts it on, and we see a hand reach into the panel and grasp the dollar. So I don't know if that's supposed to be some kind of, down note to this upbeat ending. But I don't know. If I saw $1 on the ground, I'd pick it up. It's not a bad thing. I really like this political cartoon. That's pretty cool. And then Steve Darnell and Alex Ross give their thank yous. And that's it for US. So, yeah, this was a weird episode for me because, it's, I couldn't really describe the plot. There wasn't any. And I don't even know how I feel about it. I think I'm going to keep it. At least, who knows? Maybe in 10 years, I'll just be like, nah, I really don't have the room anymore for everything. But I do like looking at this art. I am a sucker for Alex Ross. He kind of goes against so many rules of what I think of good art is. And yet I love his stuff. I mean, he definitely follows the classic rules of what good art is. I mean, he paints like one of the old masters. But usually I don't like art that's that photorealistic. It just looks lifeless. Guys like Boris Vallejo and stuff. And but I like his stuff, and it still has a certain dynamism, probably from growing up reading comic books, superhero comic books. He retains a little of that energy, even though it should be, and it kind of looks lifeless compared to a great cartoonist, like Mike Mignola or Jack Kirby. But I do like his art. I do like to just stare at some of his pages for a long time. So, yeah, guys, sorry about this episode. I don't know. I usually like to be a little more emphatic, but this is kind of a wishy-washy episode where I'm like, I don't know what to think. I'm pretty sure I don't want to read this again anytime soon. And I'm basically going to keep it just for a nice art book, a little mini art book of Alex Ross. So, that's my 2 cents. I don't know. You could maybe track it down. I don't think these are expensive at all. Nobody gave a shit about this, and understandably so. They're not that great. But I'd be curious if you've read these, what you take away from this very fractured kind of a meandering story or script. Okay, guys, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next time here at the herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies.